Good evening and welcome to the September 27th. Good evening and welcome to the September 27th meeting, regular meeting of the Gaston County Board of Commissioners. My name is Chad Brown. I serve as chairman of the board as well as the Riverbend Township Commissioner. I would like to welcome our viewers and thank Spectrum Cable and AT&T for making this possible for our viewers and citizens. For our television and live stream audience, I would like to present your Gaston County Commissioner, beginning on my far right.
Alan Fraley, Cherville Township.
Good afternoon, I'm Ronnie Worley, South Point Township.
Bob Hovis, Crowders Mountain Township.
Good afternoon, Tom Kigger, Gastonia Township.
And joining us via teleconference,
Kim Johnson, Gastonia Township.
thank you, ma'am. If you'll all rise for the invocation given by Commissioner Hovis and the Pledge of Allegiance given by Commissioner Worley.
If you would, please bow with me. Gracious Father, we come to you tonight to take care of the business of Gaston County. Father, we need to continue to be reminded of those people in Florida who are getting ready to be affected by this hurricane. Father, we need to recognize that there are many obstacles in life, and you to continue to give us the tools and the talents to deal with those daily, as long as we walk in your step. Father, continue to bless us and help us to make the correct decisions to lead Gaston County into the future on a very positive note. We ask that in Christ's name. Amen.
Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item is public hearings. The County Commission will take citizens' comments on public hearing zoning map change Z22-23. As we go forward, I'm going to skip down to the first one. Be C. First item, the Gaston County Commission will now take citizens' comments in public hearing to approve Gaston County Level 1 Incentive Grant and authorize an Economic Development Agreement, EDA, with the Tectonic Real Estate. Ms. Sarah Gilbert Kay, Economic Development Project Administrator, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Sarah.
Good afternoon. Tectonic has proposed to build a 188,000 square foot building on Jenkins Dairy Road with a total investment of approximately $9 million. It is anticipated that Tectonic's investment, they would qualify for a Level 1 grant incentive. This site has been passed over for over 60 years, and additionally it's on an infill area. The size of the building will help fill a gap in the offerings that are currently available. The project is anticipated to generate $75,000 per year of tax revenue for Gaston County. The EDC is requesting the board's approval of a Level 1 grant incentive for the Tectonic project. It has been approved by the City of Gastonia City Council on September 20th.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any citizens who wish to comment on this matter at this time? Seeing none, are there any questions from the Board of Commissioners? What say you, Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, I don't have any comments.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any additional comments, or if not, I will declare the public hearing closed. Thank you. Is there a motion? Is there a motion to
So
approve?
moved, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Worley. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes,
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Next item, item D, the County Commission will take citizens' comments on public hearing to approve a Gaston County Level 1 Incentive Grant pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 158-7.1, and to authorize Gaston County to enter into an economic development agreement with the Foundry Commercial. Ms. Sarah Gilbert Kay, Economic Development Project Administrator, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Sarah.
Foundry Commercial is proposing to design and construct a 280,000 square foot building in the South Ridge Business Park in Bessemer City. Foundry is anticipating a total investment of approximately $14 million. This site was originally not in inventory, but Josh Ross worked with Bessemer City and went through a lengthy property exchange to allow for the expansion of the South Ridge Business Park, which will also allow us to utilize the existing infrastructure. What Bessemer City was able to do has allowed for the quick development of the proposed industrial building. This was approved by Bessemer City's City Council on September 12th. The proposed completion of this building is November 2023. The EDC is requesting board approval of a Level 1 incentive grant for the project.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any citizens that wish to comment at this time? Any questions from the Board of Commissioners? I have one.
Sure.
Can you tell us the location again? Was that, you said South Ridge Business Park?
Yes, that's
the
South
best?
Ridge Business Park.
Seeing there are no additional comments, I would declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made by Commissioner Hovis,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Mr. Attorney, I have
Thank you.
tried to slow down the process as much as possible.
Thank you.
Would you care for us to move on, or,
You go to item E.
all right? Put them on item B?
E is an
E,
echo.
okay. The Gaston County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing on the proposed schedule, standards, and rules to be used in the 2023 reappraisal of real property. I will now call on Ms. Chelsea Tarbush, Interim Tax Director, to provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Tarbush.
Thank you. Today's meeting is to receive citizen comments on the 2023 Schedule of Values that was presented at the August 23rd meeting. The board will vote to adopt the Schedule of Values at the October 25th meeting. We will advertise the adoption in the Gaston Gazette 4 times, and then the last day for citizens to appeal the Schedule of Values before the Property Tax Commission in Raleigh will be November the 28th. We have some public meetings scheduled between now and the end of the year, and just as a timeline, December we will begin meeting with municipalities in the county to discuss 23 projections and set up appeal locations in each municipality. We have new website tools and appeals online for the citizens to hopefully make it more convenient for them to appeal their property value in 2023. January 1st, the 23 values will go into effect. Mid-February, reappraisal notices will be mailed to all citizens. The informal appeals process will begin at the end of February. Formal appeals will begin in May, and then tax bills for 2023 will be mailed July 21st of 23.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any citizens that wish to comment on this issue at hand? Seeing none, any questions from the Board of Commissioners? I have one. When will the township meetings begin with the commissioner? I know you started that some. Have we finished that, or are we still?
So we have some coming up in October and in November. We're trying to finish those by the end of November so that we can meet with the municipalities in the county concerning the 23 projections.
And just so everyone knows, we are trying to put a video together of a scenario where someone can watch the video on how to appeal or do anything that they wish to their real property value when it comes back out. So those are some of the things that are going on. If there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed.
Motion to approve. Second.
I don't think that was, did we have to have anything on that, Angela?
Well, then I'll take it back.
Thank you, sir. I like that. Item F, the Gaston County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing to request permission to apply for the NCDOT PTD FY24 Community Transportation Program 5311 grant to provide rural public transportation services, enter into an agreement with the North Carolina Department of Transportation, and provide the necessary assurances of required local match. I will now ask Ms. Tawana Littlejohn, Transportation Coordinator, to provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Littlejohn.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. I'm here to request permission to apply for the North Carolina Department of Transportation, Public Transportation Division FY '24 Community Transportation Program Grant. The purpose of this grant is to support public and human service transportation in rural areas where residents often rely on public transportation to reach their destinations. This grant will support the salaries and fringe benefits of the transportation coordinator and the accounting tech 2 salaries, as well as training, travel, office supplies, and our leased computer software, which is Route Match. The total amount of this grant is $224,058 with a local match of 15%, which is $33,610.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any citizens wish to comment on this at this time? Seeing none, are there any commissioners wish to make comment at this time? If there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Fraley, seconded by Commissioner Worley. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
We're going to pause the public hearing for a few minutes while we're waiting on some staff to get here, and then we'll go ahead and move to the regular agenda. Item 2, which is the approval of the business agenda. Any items that wish to be pulled from the business agenda at this time?
Motion to approve as is.
Motion made by Commissioner Hovis to approve as is, seconded by Commissioner Fraley. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
This is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Approval of the minutes. You were provided a draft minutes for the regular meeting of 6/28, 7/26, 8/23, and 9/13 special meeting. Are there any revisions? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Motion to approve as presented.
Motion made by Commissioner Worley, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Our next item is citizens' recognition. A portion of the board's agenda is to set aside for the purpose of allowing citizens opportunity to comment any suggestions. The comment period is not intended to require the commission or staff to answer any questions, but provide a response. Questions requiring a response shall be answered as soon as possible through the county manager's office. Citizens' recognition will be limited to 1 hour. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. As I call your name, please step to the podium. Is there anybody signed up? Thank you, sir. The next is approval of the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda? With no items pulled. Motion made by Commissioner Fraley, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, it is unanimous. The next item on the non-consent agenda is, next item will be nothing pulled. You want us to keep going, Bill, before we come back to it?
whatever pleases Mr. Chairman.
We'll just go through all the way through, and then we'll come back at the very end. No item, appointments, Commissioner Fraley.
I have one reappointment, Animal Care Enforcement Advisory Committee. Jonathan Fletcher.
I'll second that. All in favor? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Worley?
No appointments.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Hovis?
Mr. Chair, I have none, but I would like to for a note to the public, the Transportation Advisory Board has 2 appointments that have been vacant for some period of time, and we've been unsuccessful in getting another elected local official to serve. And if anybody out there who's an elected official in Gaston County would like to be a part of transportation, since everybody wants to talk about transportation, it's an opportunity to step up and be a part of forming that. And also someone representing the United Way. Those 2 are very important with all the conversation about transportation in Gaston County at this point in time. I would love to have some people contact me for my 2 vacant appointments. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Kieger. I have none as well. We'll go to the full board appointments. I have 1 for the Lake Wiley Marine Commission, reappointment requested by Mr. Brad Thomas.
So moved.
Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, and Mr. Chair, I have 1 appointment.
Yep, go ahead, Bam.
It is the Child Fatality Prevention Team, William Downey in that spot.
And that was for the Child Prevention Protection Team, Mr. William Downey.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion? All in favor? It is
Yes.
unanimous, Madam Clerk. And Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. The next item is reports. Any committee reports from Commissioner Fraley?
None, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Worley?
None at this time, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Hovis?
Mr. Chair, I have 1 report I'd like to make. As your representative on the Caramont Health Board of Directors, this past week we had the opportunity to make a site visit to Site 2 in Belmont off of I-85 North. And we were able to tour both the east and west wing of the new hospital. We were able to tour the MOB, the medical office building, and also the parking deck. And it was very interesting to see the number of people that they have currently involved in working on the construction of those 3 facilities at the present time, totaling just over $350 million. There's probably 400 or 500 craftsmen out there working as we speak. Most of the exterior is complete. They're finishing up a few areas of brick on the facade. They're finishing up the interior upfits in terms of electrical and HVAC and the millions of miles of cable that's being pulled in those facilities. It's really going to be a crowning jewel for Gaston County as you approach Gaston from the Mecklenburg line and Catawba River. The board of directors for Caramont is very proud of the activity and what's going on. We're still on target for April of 2024 to see first patients being admitted to that facility. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Kieger?
Couple of reports. Would one of you young ladies like to update the board on the activities for Manufacturing Week? That was one of the things we touched at the meeting, I believe, last week.
Absolutely. I don't have a schedule with me today. You have it here?
You want it?
I think I know what's going on, but I'm happy to take it if you'd like. So this coming week, starting on Monday, we're having Manufacturing Week, which we do every year, the first week in October, in conjunction with National Manufacturing Day, which will be next Friday. All of these events are open to the public, so if you'd like to go, please let me know. We have a development roundtable on Monday. We have 2 manufacturing companies that will be speaking, and then 3 developers, and then Leslie from our office will be speaking on doing business in Gaston County and development, economic development, and where we stand right now. On Tuesday, we're having a career fair, and it's all manufacturing companies at the main library in Gastonia. A lot of them are hiring, so if you're looking for a job or you know people, please send them out. There's no registration needed for that. On Wednesday, our Women Who Rock event, and that is just supporting women in Gaston County in every industry. We like to honor our manufacturing industry because it's Manufacturing Week, but we're honoring every woman in Gaston County. Thursday, we have manufacturing tours. We're actually touring 2 companies in the Gastonia Technology Park that is open, but we have a limited seating number, so if you'll just let me know. We have Owens Corning and Rochling that will be touring. And then on Friday, just look on our website, gaston.org, and all of our social media. We're going to be posting stuff throughout the entire day of
products that are made in Gaston County.
Well, I gave a good report.
Yep.
And also, do you want to touch base on the insert?
Yeah, sure, and I'll hand this back to you if you'd like.
Okay.
So we did an insert in Business North Carolina. We had a lot of municipalities and companies that actually advertised in this, and there was a lot of great articles just discussing the development that's going on in Gaston County. There's a publication online where you can download this, and we also have the print if you'd like any of these. So we actually have, just to touch on that, our marketing update with the EDC. We've done a lot of new marketing for economic development and our new business parks in the county.
That is about a 14-page insert. And real briefly, we've had 2 college meetings recently, and I'm just going to touch on one thing that the only place I really saw it was in the Belmont Banner. Gaston College Practical Nursing Program was ranked #1 out of 43 nursing schools in the state.
Wow.
For 2021. And there's a good chance that when the numbers are compiled for 22 that they will repeat back to back, best program in the state. That's something to be proud of. That's it.
Commissioner Johnson.
No reports at this time.
Thank you, ma'am. I will start by saying today is a special day in Gaston County. If you did not know, one of our latest economic development acquirees will open up its doors today for its grand opening, G&T out in Dallas. So we're excited, and thanks for all the work from, I think, everybody in this room on that project. So at some point, everybody has touched their hands. So a great job to our employees on working with them, but also the welcoming of them to our county is going to be vital to make sure that we can continue to do this. As we use these projects in here and we have grand openings and we have to make sure that we provide them with the assistance needed afterwards, because they're the backbone of how we're going to keep recruiting throughout. So thank you to EDC and everybody in the room who had something to do with that. But that is something going on, and that's when we're having the meeting. If anybody's asking, oh, why'd you have the meeting at 3 o'clock? We had to be able to get to that. This is a big investment in Gaston County. If you don't know, we've been putting this together, I think, since 17, 18, I think it started. And today it comes to fruition with a great company, and we're excited to have G&T as a part of our family here, and I look forward to many things that come out of there. So please, as you go by that big building in Dallas, try to figure out what they do. It's very exciting to see what's happening. County Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. You have a piece of paper there with you from the International City County Manager Association. This is a partnership that the county has with that group that works with veterans that are within 180 days of ending their active duty, where they can transition into a fellowship of sorts with local government, taking the experience that they've gained through either their education or their active service in the military, and giving the county government an opportunity to benefit from that and aid them in their transition back into civilian life. This is something that we are live with now, so we are in the process of starting to take applications, and it's really a good news story. There's no cost to the county, but there's tremendous benefit potentially, not only for us as an organization, but for folks that are coming out of their military service. So I wanted you all to be aware of this program. That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. County Attorney's report.
No report.
We're going to go right back to it. We'll open up the public hearing again just for those 2 items real quick, and we'll get those back, and we'll get everybody back on track. We'll have one more thing we had to talk about before we leave. The Gaston County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing zoning map change Z22-23, Dolores Bartlett, applicant. Ms. Sarah Penley, Building and Development Services Senior Planner. Building and Development Services will provide a brief overview. Once she's completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Penley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and again, my apologies for the delay in your meeting this afternoon. As you mentioned, this application is a general rezoning request for application Z22-23. The applicant is Dolores Barrett. The property owners on record are heirs of Annie Sue Gillespie. The parcel in question is parcel 219660, which is located at 338 Carpenter Road in Bessemer City. The applicants are requesting to rezone from the R1 Single Family Limited Zoning District to the R3 Single Family General Zoning District. At this time, the property is occupied with one residential structure, and since the application was submitted, the property owners have subdivided the property into 2 parcels, which would make it compliant to adding an additional home. And if we can refer to the slides, please. Again, the property is located on Carpenter Road, which is in the northwest region of the county. It's just east of the town of Cherryville and north of the city of Bessemer City, and north of the Dallas-Cherryville Highway, for reference. This is an aerial view of the property. The subject site is highlighted in blue. As you can see, it's mostly surrounded by vacant, large tracts of property. There's some residential structures in the area, and in this location of the county, those structure types are mixed in architectural type, but otherwise rural in nature. As mentioned, it is the R1 Single Family Limited Zoning District, which is consistent for the properties in the immediate area. And zoning out, it remains consistent with the R1 Single Family Limited Zoning District. We do have some R2 Single Family Moderate to the north and the east of the property, as well as some commercial and industrial to the south along the Dallas-Cherryville Highway corridor. These are the property owners that were notified for the purpose of public hearing, and a listing of those property owners. Mr. Chairman, the Planning Board met on September 5th, and in a vote of 5-1, they recommended for approval of this application. As included in your packet, some of the concerns from the Planning Board that were brought up in general discussion were other uses that were included in the R3 that are not included in the R1 Single Family Limited Zoning District. Staff explained to the board members that the biggest difference were the housing types. However, there are some other uses in the R3 district that are allowed that are not in the R1. However, those would go before the Board of Adjustment as a special use permit process. So those concerns were addressed adequately for the board. Any other uses that were included would go before the Board of Adjustment to seek a special use permit. Again, they voted unanimously for recommendation of approval. Staff finds the application as presented consistent with the comprehensive land use plan. Notices were mailed out and the signs were posted in accordance with county policy. And that concludes my presentation, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any comments from the applicant at this time? Please step to the microphone, ma'am. State your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Dolores Barrett. I reside at 338 Carpenter Road, Bessemer City. We would like to put, my son would like to put a single-wide modular home on the other lot that is beside mine, which would be 340 Carpenter Road.
Any other comments, ma'am?
No, that's all.
Thank you. Any citizens wishing to comment on this issue at this time? Seeing none, any questions from the Board of Commissioners? Mr. Keeger.
Just curious, it's hard to tell on the map. Is this Crowder's Mountain, Dallas, Cherryville Township? Where does it reside?
This is the Cherryville Township,
Okay.
Commissioner Keeger. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
It's right there on the border of the Dallas Township.
I knew it was
looks kind of
close.
close. Yes, sir.
Any other questions from the Board of Commissioners? Seeing there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. I will now ask County Attorney to summarize the Planning Board's recommendation. Mr. Stetzer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Planning Board recommended approval of this finding to be consistent with the Comprehensive Land Use Plan 5-1.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Fraley, seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any comments? All in favor? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Mr. Stetser, will you please provide the consistency statement?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the proposed rezoning is in the rural future land use plan. The area consists of mixed housing types that are residential in nature. The use going from R1 to R3 will maintain the subject parcel as residential in nature, which is consistent with the rural designation in the comprehensive land use plan.
Thank you, sir. The County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing zoning map change Z22-24, Christopher Scott Allen applicant. Ms. Sarah Penley, Building and Development Service Senior Planner, will provide a brief Building and Development Service will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Penley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As mentioned, this is application Z22-24, which is a general rezoning map amendment request. The applicant is Christopher Scott Allen, as well as the owner, Christopher Scott Allen. The parcel ID is 162968, and the location of this property is Hulls Woods Trail in Kings Mountain. The request is to rezone the property from the R1 Single Family Limited Zoning District to the R2 Single Family Moderate Zoning District. The property requested to be rezoned is approximately 1.04 acres, and they're asking to rezone the entirety of the property. At present, the property is vacant and undeveloped. And if we can refer to the maps, please. Again, this property as well is located in the northwest region of Gaston County. It's just east of the Cleveland-Gaston County line. It's southeast of the town of Cherryville and northwest of the city of Bessemer City. This is an aerial view of the property. Again, the subject property is highlighted in a dark blue. The surrounding parcels are either residential in nature or large tracts of vacant or undeveloped property. The zoning map reflects the R1 Single Family Limited zoning for that area, as well as some R2 Single Family Moderate, which abuts the parcel in question. We also have some industrial and some light commercial in the area as well. Zooming out, it's consistent with the R1, the R2. We have a little bit more light commercial and light industrial in the area as well. And there's some single-family general to the east of the site. This is the adjoining property owners who were notified for the purpose of public hearing. And this is a listing of those property owners. Mr. Chairman, the planning board met on September 5th, and they voted unanimously to recommend approval for this application. Staff does find that as presented, this application is consistent with the comprehensive land use plan. Notices were mailed out in accordance with county policy. Staff did receive one call for general information from one of the adjoining property owners. Otherwise, we didn't receive any further calls one way or the other for this particular request. And that concludes my presentation, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any comments from the applicant at this time that wish to be heard? Seeing none, are there any citizens' comments that wish to be made? Any questions from the Board of Commissioners? Commissioner Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This Lot 1, where you're talking about the adjacent property owners, undoubtedly it looks like they're sectioning out a portion of that lot to rezone and not the entire.
No, sir. This parcel is not part of that property. Actually, Mr. Scott owns parcel 6 and parcel 5. Let me double check. He actually owns 5, 6, and 7.
The way it was drawn, I couldn't see it as a separate parcel. But,
Right, yes, sir.
here.
It's an individual parcel of its own, and the applicant and owner owns the 3 abutting parcels. With those parcels having been zoned R2, they were under the impression that this parcel was zoned R2 as well, and we're proceeding with permitting with that impression.
That answers my second question, which was, what's the access? And the access is through lots 6 and 5.
Yes, sir, they have a private easement.
Correct.
To that property, yes, sir. And it's family-owned and maintained.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
If there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. I will now ask County Attorney to summarize the Planning Board's recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, the planning board unanimously recommended approval of this map change.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion on this matter?
Motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Fraley, seconded by Commissioner Hovis. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. I will now ask Mr. Stetzer to provide a consistency statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The proposed rezoning is in the Rural Future Land Use Plan. The area consists of mixed housing types that are residential in nature. The use going from R1 to R2 will maintain the subject parcel as residential in nature, which is consistent with the rural designation in the Comprehensive Land Use Plan.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other matters that wish to come before this board at this time?
I'll
Mr. Keegan?
add something.
Thank you.
The spay and neuter clinic that's across from the county police department had the grand opening of the Wagoner Memorial Garden. I believe the manager and I went through it Friday afternoon, and you get a chance. It's just a beautiful little quiet place if you get a chance to go see it.
Thank you, sir. I want to say we're doing a lot of great things in Gaston. We also have some issues we're working on, but I wanted to recognize Officer Rodney Hamrick and Officer Jonathan Marr. If y'all come to the front just for a second. This here is part of our, come out here, Rodney, just so you can see you guys. This is part of our SROs, which is the school resource officers, which work diligently. And I know some questions were put out, as long as I get ready to see you, but these two work hard every day in our school system. And I saw some comments in the paper today that were taken out of context, I think, about some things that the school resource officers do. So I wanted to recognize them just for their hard work. And there's many of them. There's not just this. We work hard here to provide the safety for our county, for you, the citizens, to be able to send your kids to school. I see some retired officers in the audience as well. But one of the things that was said was these officers are not alerting parents. That's not their job. Their job is to thwart efforts of anything that happens and to continue to provide the safest school that you can have inside of these schools. The school system will be the one to provide that information to the parents, not these officers. So I want it to be known that these officers work hard every day that they get there to provide some stuff. And I want to say thank you to you guys, and tell your fellow officers thank you. And it's not just because of what you do at school, it's because of what you do outside of school and providing for our community. We know a lot about your personal stuff, but I just want to personally say thank you to you guys. So thank you for that. And Commissioner Hovis.
You're exactly correct, Mr. Chairman. And we're very fortunate that we have, this board has funded SROs in all of our public schools. We have a commitment to that. But the SRO's job is much more than just being there as a deterrent for things of the other shootings. They have to develop relationships with our students and our family. And that relationship requires one word that some people today can't understand: trust. And that's what all of these gentlemen and every one of the SROs that work for Gaston County Schools do. And it gives those students an individual they can go to, they can discuss things, they can tell things that they see, and they know there's a level of confidentiality. And that's very, very important. And it's part of their job that often goes misrepresented. And I thought you were going to say something, but that's fine. But that's my comments.
Well, thank you. And like I said, I want to say something. I saw that they had a forum last night, and I know your chief was there, but we had some person from outside doing some mental evaluations of that, and that's one of the things that Jonathan does on a daily basis as part of his job with the school system and also with the county police. So we have the right people in the right spots, and I would never have anything better than what we have in our law enforcement in Gaston County between the Gaston County Police and the Sheriff's Office. We do a great job of protecting Gaston County, so thank you guys.
Thank you guys for your support.
This concludes our meeting for today. Our next work session is Tuesday, October the 11th at 6 p.m. here in the Harley B. Gaston Public Forum Courthouse. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please provide your comments and anything that you have to tell to Ms. Donna Buff at 704-866-3196. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Worley. All in favor? Is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Good night, Pocket Chip.